name is Jaime Rich. I work for the Center for Human Development, where I'm the Director of Environmental Prevention. I oversee quite a few projects at the agency, but we all have the same goal of reducing underage substance use. So anything that has the potential harm for our young people that would impact their future is near and dear for me to look into and talk about. So now we're going to talk about signs and symptoms to look for in your teenager or in your child that may indicate they could possibly be using marijuana. In general, if your child starts acting differently than you're used to, just patterns start changing, moods start changing, just something is up. Trust your intuition as a parent. You probably know your kid better than anyone else. And rather than just saying, oh, I must be imagining it, throwing it away, talk to people, talk to your teenager, investigate a little more, try to figure out what's going on. Some things that you can look for that may indicate that your child is using marijuana would be if they lose interest in the things that they used to love to do, in activities, in clubs, in sports. Suddenly they don't want to do these things anymore with usually no explanation. Mood changes. Maybe your kid is usually pretty mellow, easygoing kid, and then all of a sudden they're really hyper and things are bothering them a lot more. Or it could be the opposite. They're usually got lots of energy, want to do lots of things, and they just kind of have no energy. They sit on the couch, they just chilling out all the time. Big changes. Good indicator is the smell of weed. It can be very pungent. If people are smoking the old-fashioned way, in smoking a joint or using a bong, it's very pungent, skunk-like smell. But if young people are they're getting much more ingenious and they're using e-cigarettes and vaping, you may not have the telltale smell. So you can't only go by that or figure that your child must not be using because I never smell it, because it could be masked by them vaping. Declining schoolwork and grades, same thing, out of nowhere, suddenly they're not doing well in school when they always were. A big change, their grades are dropping, you don't have any other explanation. It could be due to this. If they're coughing, their pupils are dilated, their eyes are always red, that's produced by them smoking, quite possibly smoking marijuana. Again, change in friends. Let's say they're hanging out with a new group of kids, or that buddy that they had been friends with since early childhood. Suddenly, what happened to Joey? I don't see him anymore. Well, maybe Joey doesn't want to hang out with your kid anymore because your kid's smoking weed all the time. Or maybe Joey's smoking weed all the time. It could be either, but change in relationships. Deteriorating relationships, same thing. If they seem to be getting in fights a lot more, your kid with their friends that they always used to hang out with. If they're less open, they used to tell you about things happening in school and suddenly they don't really want to share, they don't want to talk about their day, or when they talk on the phone, they're being very secretive, they have to be behind closed doors, or they have to go outside to talk on the phone, or they're using words that you're like, what are they talking about? I don't even know what those words mean. Again, could be an indication. If they suddenly are asking you for money a lot, or if money is disappearing from your purse and you're wondering, what did I do? I keep misplacing that $10. Could be that they need it to buy their marijuana. They may be making a lot of excuses to get out of the house repeatedly, and they may be doing that to go smoke. If their mood changes, they seem to be really depressed, they don't want to hang out with family, they're always in their room behind closed doors. Again, that may be what they're doing there, or they may be coming off a high there and just don't want you to see it. Another thing to look for is there's lots of paraphernalia these days that can be associated with marijuana use. Rolling papers, pipe, bong, roach clips, all used to smoke marijuana. Lighter, vape pens. Again, vape pens can be hard to detect for a person who doesn't know what they're looking for. They can be clear, they can look just like a pen, but they're usually a little bigger cigars, because what people can do is they use the outside of the cigar and then you fill it with marijuana. That's called a blunt. And that way you get tobacco and marijuana in your one smoking. Isn't that great? Plastic resealable bags for them to carry around their marijuana, aluminum foil, canisters, pill bottles, small vials, all used to carry marijuana. There can be also interesting containers that are actually made for people to carry around their marijuana if you go into a smoke shop, believe it or not. I went into a smoke shop when I didn't know so much about this stuff and remarked on, why is there one can of mayonnaise, one can of peanut butter, one soda just sitting there in the glass case? And then somebody who knew a little more than I did said, oh no, that's not mayonnaise and it's not peanut butter. It's a jar used to conceal your drugs or conceal your marijuana so you can carry it around with you. You can have it in the car. The cop's not going to know. You as the parent are not going to know that that's what's in there. So if your kid starts carrying around mayonnaise, that might be something to look out for. Again, if they're using a lot of Visine or incense, air freshener, mouthwash, they're trying to hide the odor of marijuana and trying to hide the red eyes. If they suddenly seem to be really into that marijuana leaf, it's appearing on their clothes, they have stickers, they're talking about 420, they seem to be preoccupied with the subject of marijuana and the topic of marijuana, that also may indicate that it's a new world for them that they are into. So now let's say you recognize some of these things and you feel like it's time to talk to your young person about possible marijuana use. In the next video, we're going to talk about how to have those conversations.